So I'll call the facilities meeting to order. It's Monday, April 10th at 6:15. If we can just go around the room and say who's here for the reporter. Tamara Twardowski.
Kathy Haynes.
Jim Harris.
Warren Small.
Casey Blankmiller.
Jeff Scott.
Scott Potts.
Mike Wolf.
Nicholas Biagianti.
And we have a couple members, I guess, residents in the audience. Okay. Yeah, if we can just, yeah. Mike, can I have one of those? Let me take this on. All right, Casey, go ahead.
Well, I'll get this young gentleman out of the way first. Mr. Helzer, as you all know, is doing an obstacle fitness course for the JRTC up at the high school. Lauren had sent everything off to the insurance company. They're okay with it, and Mr. Helzer called me this afternoon in the midst of doing field, so I did not get Nicholas's name until now. He is doing an Eagle Scout project, and from what I understand from Mr. Helzer, he is assisting. So I'll let you explain what you're here for, because I just kind of was talking to Mr. Helzer quick, and I said, okay. So
I was just kind of here to see what input I would get, because I thought that he was going to be here as well. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that he said he was going to come.
okay.
I'm just not aware if he knows where the meeting's at or not.
No, I
Even though
did
he was
tell
the
him.
one that told me to.
Okay, because he called me, so I did tell him where it was at. So
Andrew Helzer knows everything.
That's what he
Part of your
tries.
project to see how you react on your feet without notice.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm sure that's what he was planning on.
One step forward.
But there's not really many questions that I really have about everything. I'm pretty sure that he cleared up everything today, as far as you said that the insurance company was good with everything. And this other issue, I'm trying to remember.
So
The dates.
what's supposed to be your, as far as you know, based on what you were told so far, what's your involvement in the project?
So I'm going to be leading two specific obstacles in their construction and pre-construction,
Okay.
and then planning of materials, and I helped with designing for each of the projects as well, or each of the obstacles rather. I'm going to be constructing the like a high step over, which is sort of like hurdles that are very close together, about 3 feet apart from each one. And then my other project is going to be a set of monkey bars, which is another obstacle that's in the obstacle course. Altogether, there's 8 obstacles. There's a tire run, the monkey bars, a balance beam, the high step over, the weaver, a low crawl, and I can't think of the other one off the top of my head, but
You have to swing across like a pit of water or mud or something like that?
no, we're not
Yeah,
doing
which
that
one
yet.
does Helzer
Not
carry
yet.
the gun and he shoots over top of everybody's head?
Full metal jacket.
it's going to be at the back of the baseball field, the practice baseball field behind the high school. It's going to be up towards the side of the hill where the it's going to be in between the baseball field and then the practice football field, right before it actually goes up the hill. It's going to be located around there.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with the old track long jump and the pole vault were, we're going to be removing that macadam. It's a hazard anyway. It's starting to crack. It's starting to kind of be in the way of the mowers anyway. So we're going to remove that, and then the majority of their obstacles will be on that upper terrace, and then the other obstacles will be down on the lower terrace on the very far end of the softball field, the JV softball field, where the batting cage is, and that little kind of dead corner there. They're going to have 2 obstacles there, and that way they can use the hill as their trail as well. So they'll have the steep part of the hill, and then the lower hill that goes down around the right side. So that is it's the easiest, flattest, fairly flat area that is unused by any of our sporting events, gym classes, or anything like that. So, and it's also far enough out of the way that people shouldn't be up there messing with it. I mean, if they want to go all the way up there to horse around, more power to them, kind of thing. So,
Well, when you say we're taking out the macadam, who's we?
the ground staff, we're going to take the front end of the loader and pop up the macadam.
Yeah.
Hopefully that just pops up. If not, we'll get a small little backhoe in and just pull it up. And then Farino's doing some work down the street. They said they would swing by and grab it at some point in time. So we're just gonna put it down by the garage, and when they're down the area with a backhoe and the dump truck, they're gonna come and get it. So, just be a minimal expense for us, to get rid of the macadam. It's, somebody's gonna get hurt up there eventually. People run around up there and stuff like that, so.
You're there, a mower blade catching the macadam and throwing it at somebody.
Right. So,
The one other thing that we were talking about earlier at our small little meeting we had today, we decided on who is actually going to be in charge of every obstacle. We're going to have two of the older students are going to be in charge of every obstacle. There's going to be the primary, like, work chief, and then the secondary work chief for every obstacle. And then, as far as adults and supervisors that are going to be a part of this, everybody is already registered as either a teacher or with BSA, and it's the same clearances for both, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure that child safety laws apply to both. But, and then I'm remembering that he said that the estimated price initially was somewhere around $4,800, and now it's about a little over $3,000. So I think that with what we've worked with, we've made a good project.
yeah, because I think Home Depot or Lowe's has donated some of the materials. They're also going some of their staff are going to come in and help as well, and a contractor's going to come in, I believe, with a skid loader and an auger to dig all the holes for them to make quick work of it. So.
He said that we were getting like a 40% discount on all of the materials.
Yeah. So that's the JRTC obstacle course update for you. So you're more than welcome.
Who's buying the materials?
We got grants from the state already, and I think we have about $4,800 in grants, something around there, $4,500. But Mr. Helzer is going to go to Home Depot over the next few days, and the materials are going to be dropped off May 1st.
No, I guess my question is, we have a tax exempt status. Are we buying the material with our tax exempt?
We were not buying the materials at this point. Now, if that's something you guys would be willing to do, I didn't even think of that, to be honest with you. I could definitely go with Mr. Helzer and put it on the credit card and take care of it that way. Then the JRTC would just have to reimburse the business office if that's what you guys want to do. Okay.
I'm curious
Okay.
where it might get to, the wheels are turning.
Okay.
Yeah, because when we bought our stuff through Music Boosters,
Yeah.
we had our tax exempt certificate with us, so made it a lot easier, save some money. For this,
Yeah.
save $200 or so.
The district approved the program, correct?
Yeah.
So it's
As long
ours.
as the district did it, yeah, it's our equipment.
Yep.
We can use our, and then they reimburse us.
It's not like the JROTC is an outside entity who's sponsoring.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will have him call you tomorrow. Or email you tomorrow. Anything else?
Not that I have. If anybody has questions, I'd be willing to try and answer them.
Okay. All right. If you
How
want
long
to stay,
what's the timeline for completion?
So, what we're going to try and do is from any time in February to the April 24th to the 28th, we are going to stake out the holes for the person who's coming in to actually drill the holes and dig out the holes. Most likely going to be on the 29th or the 30th. He's going to come in, probably going to be more towards the evening after school time, like probably more towards 4 o'clock or something like that. And then on the 1st, materials are going to get dropped off, delivered to the school. It's that Monday. And he's going to have us help him unload everything. We're going to get it all into piles for what we need for each obstacle so we don't have any confusion about materials. The 2nd, we're going to have a mandatory informational meeting for everybody who's planning on going and helping out. We need to get names because that way we know for when students will be out of class, because this is going to be constructed during school time. We're going to inform Mr. McKnight on names of people who aren't going to be there, so there's no confusion between absentees. And then 3rd and the 4th is when we're going to do construction. That's about all there is as far as the time frame goes.
Yeah, that's good, thanks.
Sounds great.
Rain or shine.
Pretty much that's what Mr. Ellsworth said, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to lighting upgrades. We
You don't have to
quickly,
say if you don't want to, but you're welcome to.
I'm going
we
to our evening.
quickly went over this last facilities meeting, changing out the high school hallway lights. The LED lights have become very cost-friendly now. So if I were to just start buying LED lights as needed to replace as bulbs die, we'll be spending a lot more money on the bulbs, and then we also won't get the Med Ed rebate as well. So it's kind of a twofold savings. So I would like to do the high school lights, hallway lights, and the high school gym.
Isn't that what we talked about last?
Yeah.
Or, okay, yeah, I think.
Then it was just a matter of if it's a maintenance issue, or, because they are Co-Stars, so I can buy it through the Co-Stars. Their pricing's better than what's on Co-Stars. So just, I guess the question was it maintenance or was it a project? So,
I think we talked that it was maintenance, and I, you know what, I might have emailed Lauren, and maybe he didn't, I thought I CC'd you, but maybe I didn't, and I think he said that it was in the budget.
What's the total cost now? Okay, I had 5830 and, what did I have? 5830 for the ball, and 9540
about
for the
95
gym.
something for the gym, yeah. Because those bulbs are about, if I'm buying them one at a time, they're like $300 a piece, and there's 36 bulbs, so it's 11, that's 10.8, but that's it.
And what's your timeline? We're into the 1st of May now.
They would be done the gym would be done right before they come in to refinish the gym floor. So it'd be the first 2 days or 3 days after school's out. And the hallway, I would want to buy the bulbs now, so they're here. So as the bulbs start going out, then when we would replace the remainder during the summer, when the GCA when they open up the grills to clean the grills, they can just change the bulbs right away. We're not doing that twice.
We're in a real tight budget here
Okay.
because of the water line project, and all that went with it. So send me the quotes
Okay.
on those, and I'll tell you where I'm going to bill it, but we'll try to make this work.
And the gym, if we have to wait, I would just wait then. If we wait till if we want to do the gym in the next fiscal, I would wait till right before fall sports start up, and then I would do the gym then, because that's the big dollar one, so.
Send me
Okay.
the real quotes.
Yep.
And honestly, since they're co-stars, it doesn't matter if we're over the 18.5 or the 19.1, right? Because they're,
CoStar, it's the purchasing of it.
right, but it's already been bid.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if we go over. Okay.
Right.
Because I know that's why we were trying to look at doing some this year.
Contracts attached to it, we'll be fine.
Okay.
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 All right. I see outdoor signage is on there because the camera upgrades and card access all kind of goes together. So outdoor signage, what was that?
That was me.
Jim
We
asked me.
The
talked
signs for the
about
schools, correct?
AEC, MEC, and the middle school. The signs that we currently have outside of the high school are pretty poor. They seem pretty beat up. They don't really reflect what's going on in the school. And if all three aren't they still manual? Someone has to go outside and
Correct.
change the lettering. It's not really. I mean, we have attractive buildings, and it looks like the signs were done as an afterthought. So I asked Casey a while back, and he went out to the sign companies and said they could fill that casing up with a digital sign that could be managed just like Aaron does from the high school out to the grounds. I know in bad weather and just in trying to get scrolling things going on, I go to the high school 2-3 times a day. It's very attractive. You go past the middle school, the thing looks like it's about to be swallowed up into the ground. You can't really see anything. So we need to do something with our curb appeal. So I asked Casey to look at something. And usually they're about, what, 12,000?
Yeah, and the only issue that we're going to have is two of them have electric to them. Amity does not, and the two that have electric to them, they're on with the park and lot lights. So they're on the same circuit as the lot lights. So we would have to pull a feeder through that circuit out to there. That would be a direct power.
And
That would be the only, that's what I'm trying to figure out where that goes at this point.
and this is something that we never talked about, but when you just said that, if we were to do that, could we then illuminate the flagpoles? Since electric is being put outside somewhere, would that be the good time to put lights around the posts?
It would be yeah. I mean, Monocacy already has lights around theirs, middle school already does, it'd just be Amity does not. So at that point in time, because Amity, we're gonna have to get power out to the sign somehow. And that's the one I really haven't dug into real hard yet. The other thing I was looking at was, since they're gonna be LED, solar powered, possibly with battery packs in the framework. So I got very detailed measurements of everything for the sign companies. They all said, hey, what kind of space do we have? How wide can we get? So I really have no pricing at this point. Just as they all come up with questions, I'm trying to get them answers as soon as I can.
Yeah, we just started talking about it a while back to say, well, what would it cost? And don't use a company that makes signs in Florida. Because of the high school, when it gets cold, the sign goes off.
Just make sure too that they're all all the schools are in Amity. Just check with them on their ordinance,
Correct.
what they allow for electric signage.
Right.
Because there was a question on the high school when we first put that in there, how many lumens it could be.
How
Pride.
often it can scroll, right, yeah. Just, I'm assuming Amity allows them. Some places don't even allow them. I'm
Right.
assuming they do,
Where
but
would you
Don't
put
they
it
use one
at
outside of Amity?
AEC?
But they
Replacement.
they're not
Where the
subject to
existing
their
one
own
is, they're in
zoning.
the corner.
Because I mean,
I'm just telling you. That's,
Electronic sign out there.
school, no one's gonna see it. Just put that- Like I can see the middle school's on the main road, MEC's on the
Right.
main road, the high school's on the main road. With AEC's back in the middle, behind the neighborhood, no one's gonna see it.
But they get a lot of traffic through there.
I mean,
And the
yeah.
families.
At
And most don't
at
get out of the
8:30
car.
and at 8:30 and 3, they
Yeah.
get a lot
Don't
of
even-
traffic.
And most don't even get out of the car.
yeah, I don't. That'd be an interesting one. I don't.
I'm just saying, like, if we were gonna do it there, I would wanna put it on Old Eagle, like, on Old Airport Road or something, if we, like opposite the school there, so that, I don't know what the point would be to have a brand-new illuminated sign at AEC, I mean, that's just my own opinion, I don't. The other schools are on main roads, there's constant traffic, so that makes total sense to me, but, I don't know. I mean, it would be nice, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying.
Rent out the space on, right? It's on Airport Road, we could advertise.
Well, I'm just saying,
What if AEC paid for it themselves? Because Dane would do it.
Out of Dane's little
yeah, but I mean,
special
I'd rather
time.
Dane
Well,
spend
I'd
money
rather-
on something
I'd rather buy
else.
more iPads than a
Yeah.
sign that we're
Yeah.
gonna see, but.
I'm just saying,
I'll get
like,
pricing for all three of them. That's,
Where there's lots of traffic, I'm totally on board with you. I think it makes absolute sense.
Monocacy's good.
Like Monocacy gets tons of traffic, middle school obviously, high school obviously, but AEC, I mean, there's, aside from
I'll be
drop off,
honest.
pickup.
Until we had the meeting there, I didn't even know how you got into it because we went to Birdsboro. So
I mean, it's,
I'm like, how do I even get in here?
that's what I'm saying. I mean, like from the main road, you can see the school. So like if someone would allow us to put a sign there on the road, you'd still see the school, that would be one thing, I think, but I don't know. That's just me.
Tell Dane.
I don't mean to, I'm not trying to be,
Tell Dane
I don't
he's
mean
not
to be
getting
a
a
wet
sign.
blanket on your big idea, but
Well, you tell Dane he's not getting a new sign in.
Well, could you put it? I mean, I understand that it isn't really AC, but could you put it like where the entrance is for here?
like if Dean goes out and says Booster Stein,
For
we're
the
gonna get a new
for-
sign, like, I mean, like.
Because then it's at least on Old Airport Road. And I don't know that you own property at the corner of Airport and Rosecliff, so you probably can't put it there. You could probably put it out front of here on Old Airport Road. Or on
Well, we don't.
662, where I don't know if you own any property where the road
One
comes
place would
down.
make sense would be on Old Eagle School, where you can, when you drive past, it's there's a clear view of the school, it's right there, you could put it right there. But
Right.
you'd have to, I don't know who owns, it's a farmland and, or the township owns some first 10 feet of it or something, I don't know, whatever. Eminent domain.
I just don't know you'd be able to put it out there because you don't own
We don't have
it.
to waste any more time on it, I'll have to think, I'll have a debate with Dave about this sign.
All right.
17, yeah.
He wants a
All I-
wall too, so that
What's
nobody
your
tracks
side-
leaves
side
into his
view
office, like,
Where you check it.
you know, next he's gonna ask for a coffee bar or whatever. Like, enough.
I'm okay with his gate that he wants, but nobody else seems to be okay with his gate.
The gate?
Yeah, like in the park, in the driveway, I'd be okay with that.
He's the one that doesn't like the gate, 'cause I think he likes to cut through there.
No, I don't. No, he can't put a cable up there.
Oh, because, yeah, people won't
Yeah,
see
but
it.
we could do a gate. That's easy.
Put big red ribbons on it.
No, please stop me. They're like, no cables. But no, we could do a gate that opens and closes. I've done those before. That makes
Tractor
sense.
Supply has them.
So someone hits
Yeah.
it and bends the cheap little.
Then you just paint them up so it looks nice again, that's all.
Yeah, we do
Like we
that.
did the high school.
All right, so what else we have?
Card, we'll do camera upgrades and card access. After last meeting, I kind of said to Tamara about, trying to get our next facility meeting being more of a security discussion. We always talk security. When something happens, it becomes a priority. Lo and behold, a few days after our meeting, we had the incident at the high school. So kind of, I definitely want to have a conversation about this because camera upgrades at the middle school in Amity. That's where we have 2 current camera systems that do not work. The middle school's is horrible. I think over half the cameras now do not send a picture. The DVR does not read what's being sent back. At the high school, it was very similar to that. When we did the upgrade, all the cameras came back, knock on wood. So we had all functioning hardware out in the building, just not functioning software to see it. I had, a while ago, had gotten a price when we had done the middle school, when we did the high school, I had also gotten a price for the middle school. Go ahead.
So, just to read back what you said, the high school, so all the cameras in and outside the school are now all feeding images?
Except for the one that has died, the outside one, which
Okay.
we're just waiting for the camera to come in.
Okay, but otherwise all the
Otherwise,
cameras
all-
are functioning fine since you got the software upgrade?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we actually just had a camera go down to the gym like a week and a half ago, so we have those 2 cameras on order.
All right.
So-
Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. So I'm hoping that once we get software that works at the middle school, I know Jenny has had a lot of issues with student issues there. They haven't been able to prove when stuff happens because they can't see anything. So I called Berkshire Systems for an updated price, and then I also talked to I2 Security Solutions, which is the company I brought in for the card access. They are the best Linnell rep for our area, and we have best card access now where we have card access. So I2 Security Solutions for, wrong quote, for the camera upgrade. They're both co-stars. They're both, the pre-bid, everything. The video upgrade for the middle school from I2 Security Solutions is $29,998. Berkshire Systems is $33,120. So that's our 2 proposals from Berkshire Systems did our high school upgrade. We had some issues with it in the beginning, but we've worked all those out.
Those quotes are for the exact same?
It's just
service?
two different platforms. Salient is who Berkshire Systems uses, and Linnell is who I2 uses. So it's camera systems. I mean, it's
So-
everybody
Are
has
they-
their own
Are
software.
they IP cameras
Yeah.
now?
Well, they'll be able to become IP, correct?
So let me ask this question. If we had a floor plan of, let's stick with the high school, which areas would have no coverage? Because what I would like to see is, if we're going to do this, or when we do this, a floor plan of both locations and what areas are covered. Because there should not be any public area that isn't on camera,
Right.
except for the restrooms and classrooms and the
Right.
locker rooms. Everything should be under some camera. So I'd like to see if we're going to spin this, really do it right, get the floor plan and say, okay, this is camera 2, this is camera 3, this is 4, and then those areas that aren't covered, put something in place where they are covered.
Right.
Because the kids will find out sooner or later which stairwells, which hallways, which areas are blacked out. So we need to, you do this right, lay out a floor plan and say, okay, we have coverage here, we have coverage here, this isn't coverage, and then put coverage there. Same as the middle school, those kids are bright, they're gonna figure out sooner or later that Repco can't see what we do down this hallway or in this stairwell, because there have been issues
Right.
at the high school. So before we go forward, let's just plot it out. If we're gonna
I mean, I can
invest-
tell you where the cameras are currently located at the middle school. Of course, since half of them don't work, I can't tell you what they
Right.
see.
So-
So that's the issue. And that was kind of the issue at the high school. We now know at the high school, we have to replace some cameras and refocus them, which is I was going to do this summer. We have a lot of whitewashing from the sunlight coming in the hallways and stuff like that. The resolution's not very good. So we're going to try to get those cameras functioning much better than what they currently are. There again, the middle schools, I honestly don't know what works, what they can see. I mean, we can get locations of which way they point. I'm sure Phil knows which they are, and we can see and make sure we have the proper coverage in those areas.
Yeah, we need to just get floor plans of all the buildings, and then, it coded red, yellow, green. If it's a
Right.
good one, it's green, and then we look at it and then put together a plan to get each of the areas covered.
Right, because that's what Aaron actually did at the high school. He actually went out with his iPad as he was viewing it and stood there and actually marked on the floor plan with yellow highlighter where the camera
And
stops
how
seeing.
far it goes, because the assumption is whenever we have an issue, that it's on camera, and a lot of times it isn't. And now the expectation is, well, show me the video.
Right.
And you're like, well, even on a bus, outside of a sporting event, we need to have coverage.
Those prevailing wage rules.
They charge prevailing, I mean, they pay their people prevailing rate, but I'll verify that with them.
That'll
They were
be the next
supposed to,
step, once we
yeah.
Make sure that those
Does
numbers
it
So-
matter?
reflect.
And there again, I don't need an answer tonight, but I definitely, I want to put this up to everybody, just saying, hey, as I've said before, security is expensive and inconvenient. It's just, to do it the right way, it's not cheap. So, and the upgrade at Amity was about $8,000 for his. He only has 16 cameras, so.
But then I guess the
middle school
question
has
is,
40,
should there be more?
32.
Right.
What's that?
But then I guess the question is, should there be
Well,
more?
isn't that, I think that's what Jim's saying, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and then we have no
Do a
cameras
site
that
survey.
we're not
Let's
going
get
to
the
see.
total cost like you did for the roof. We had
Okay.
like everything laid out, like if we were gonna do it right.
Well, that's
And then
fine.
we can kind of maybe
Well, then
do, just like we
that-
did with the roof, is like pick sections that are high priority or whatever.
Okay.
And
And then that begs the question, we should be getting a layout for Monoxy, I guess, as well,
While I'm
right?
doing it, I'll do them. At that point, let's just get them all in front of you, and then you guys can decide which way you want to go with them.
would they be, once they're, like, let's assume so fast forward to 2 years, we're done. Will they all be on one system and have access from one location? Like, someone could sit here or wherever, another building and pull up the footage?
Well, there again, if we want to do that, we have to go with Salient with everybody, or best. Right now, we have Salient at the high school. That's the software. So if you're looking at going one software package, like our Train Summit system now, when I log in, I have all the schools listed there. So if that's what you truly want, then I'll go to Berkshire and say, hey, I need this. You need to sharpen your pencil because I have another quote that was cheaper, but we want to stay with the one with the one software plan. So I mean, I can do that, and that's.
I'm just, it makes sense to me, but I don't
Right.
know if it's.
I think we discussed in kind of the township, say even Amity Township Police, being able to monitor.
Mhm. And it's web-based, so we can give them access. It's
You
not a
mentioned
problem.
Aaron walking down the hallway with his iPad, like theoretically, you could look at any school.
Right.
Correct. Okay. All right. Then the next one is card access. Berkshire Systems had looked at it a while ago. They were about 170 grand, and that was with Fusion, which was their software plan. If we go with Best Linnell, and we do the upgrade to their latest software program, and I2 Security Solutions comes in and does it, it is $101,800, $101,800 compared to $169 from Berkshire Systems. The reason why there's such a disparity between the two is I2 can use all of the existing power supplies above the ceiling, above the drop ceilings. All they're going to have to do is change out the reader on the door from a card swipe to a prox. Nothing else changes. Now they'll pull some wires, of course, but the power supply, all that stays put. Berkshire Systems would have to replace everything. The power supplies, even if they went PoE, we're such a long run at some points, we'd have to put some type of hardware up there. So going with a best system is definitely more cost effective than going with a full tear out redo. Our software currently works very well. The best system, the software side of it does work very well. It's not very user friendly on our end. The upgraded version is much more user friendly, a lot quicker points and clicks. It's not, now if you want to put a card in, it's like a 30-step process. So my recommendation would be if we're gonna do security and we're gonna do card access and limit who has access to these buildings and take away the keys like we've discussed from a lot of people, because a lot of people currently have keys and we're still finding doors propped open. We're still finding doors that aren't closed, even if they were using it and had a block of wood in there for a whole weekend. Now that dirt gets in there, it just becomes a real big mess. We've also added some doors to I2 Securities because I knew they were going to be much cheaper. So we added some doors for convenience of the staff, just some more access points. So
that 101 is for all the district buildings?
All buildings, and then
What about this building?
And includes this building.
And Birdsboro?
And Birdsboro, if you want to take Birdsboro out, it's $13,615.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before.
This is
It's,
like
once
Birdsboro.
if you're going to do it right, do them
You might
all.
as well do it, yeah.
Because then you have one system and,
Right.
then they have a different flavor in a couple years or whatever, and then you can't get them all the same.
And as part of this, that comes with a camera, that comes with 500 ID badges, 500 printable peel and sticks. So what my intent would be, and also talking to Scott Matz, because he would then use this for his copiers as well. It would be the same ID badge. So Scott and I's conversation was going to be, or it has been, everybody will get a new ID badge. That will be their prox card with their photo on the badge. Once and done, everybody's upgraded to new everything. It gives us the ability to have key fobs for staff as well. If Jim doesn't want to carry a prox card with him all the time, he can throw a key fob on his wife's car ring and his own car ring. Like when I was at Wilson School District, I had them on my daughter's keys, my work keys, and my wife's keys, because if I was out on the weekend and got the phone call, at least I get into the school. That I had at least a key fob with me, and I have to carry my ID badge with me all the time. So this also goes in with, like I said, with Scott. That'll give him the ability to limit who prints at what copiers and everything, because right now everybody has to put in their IDs on the copiers. He already has the prox readers on his copiers, they're just not enabled. So then they would have their prox card that he would just then program that into his system. They would go to the copier and then they can print from those copiers, and we'll track who prints how many copies, so on and so forth. So we've talked about this a lot of times. I definitely think, I know it's not cheap, but it's 5 doors at Birdsboro. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 doors at Monocacy. 7 doors at Amity. 4 doors here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 school doors at the high school, and then the stadium doors. And then allow also the IT office. We're going to put a reader there. And then the middle school is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 doors in the middle school.
How many total? 25?
5,
More than that.
6,
30,
7, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 22, 32, 39 doors.
39 doors.
39 doors total.
What's your timetable on?
I would say if we can, if we can get them a verbal go-ahead, and if you guys want to do it in the next fiscal, they could be on site July 1. And it won't take them real long. They said about 2 or 3 weeks on site. They'll have all the programming done ahead of time. And then, my concern is we want to make sure that we don't if we do this, we don't interfere with GCA staff with their summer cleaning. So I'm trying to get all of our projects kind of together that, hey, if we're gonna do this card access and pull all the keys back, we would want to do that before school starts. We'd want to have it fully operational before school starts, because then that way we can notify everybody when they come in for their in-services, hey, you're going to have a new ID badge. They all hand their keys in anyway, so we would have all the teacher keys at that point in time. And then what we would end up doing is we would end up pulling everybody else's keys from them, coaches and everything else like that. Because right now, anybody that has a key can get into this building any time of the day.
Well, let me ask, will we change the locks? Or instead of pulling the keys? Because it's easier to change the locks than bring all the keys in, right?
Well, we could very easily. There's not going to be that many.
Well, you still need the locks though, right? 'Cause
We would still need the
there's
locks
no power, you won't
on
be able to
doors.
get in.
Yeah, we would still need locks on doors. We know who has keys, the new keys. We know every person that has that key. Aaron has his list. I have my list. There might be 1 or 2 that was handed to somebody that we weren't told. But overall, we would then know. And if somebody would then force open a door, meaning that you use a key to open a door, we would know what time of day it was, and we'd be able to track that person down pretty quickly.
If the cameras were working.
Right. So,
And then would you lock down times that people have access when you have
Correct.
cards and you can? Because I
Correct.
mean,
we don't do
really
that
need to allow
currently.
people in at 2 in the morning.
We
unless they're- Yeah.
currently it does not happen. Currently, if somebody has a card, there's only like 4 or 5 real groups in there, and most of them are 24/7 access. And there again, I don't think we should have staff have 24/7 access. I think, they should have access while there's staff in the building,
So let me ask. now,
except for teachers and stuff on weekends and
Let me
events.
ask, because I've done this before. You can open a building and close a building. You can lock them all out
Yep.
and let them in. So the situation comes up, like, say, President's Day, where we're closed, but generally that Tuesday we would open, Casey would have to go in and make President's Day a closed day
Mhm.
to teachers. But custodians, administrators, like principal would want to go in, they could go in. So those are the variables that we would deal with, because the building would open at a certain time, say 6:30, and then close at 9:30 for the masses. But the principal, assistant principals, custodians, administrators could go in and out if they have to. But generally, you don't want to open a building on or say we have spring break coming up Thursday and Friday. You would want to lock that building down and let staff know they can't come in to go do extra work because their card wouldn't work. So those are the things that it becomes a programming management side too. So when people go, well, what does Casey do? You don't need him anymore. You still need him because
Right.
there's this programming involved in that and managing the calendar. So,
And the other part is too, currently there are a lot of cards out there that have multiple uses. I had a kid come in the door the other day when I was up there, and I said, "How'd you get in?" "Oh, I have my mom's card." I said, "Well, you're not supposed to have your mom's card." "Well, I just need to get a homework assignment." I said, "I'll walk you to your classroom." I said, "To your locker." So I walked him down the hallway, went to his locker, and I walked him right back out, and I said, "Please go home and tell your mom this is not allowed." He goes, "Thank you, sir, not a problem." Anyway, the kid was great. The kid was great, so I'm not going to take the card and call mom and say, "Hey," I said, "just please tell your mom this is not allowed." So it would eliminate all of the cards that are currently out there that we currently have no idea. We have, forget, somebody had left and we got their card back and we went in and looked. It was like 4 people ago, because we could almost, by who that person was, we track back, like, that person replaced this person, oh, that replaced that person, that replaced, oh, that's whose card, okay, that's why that person has a card assigned to them. And they haven't been an employee of the school district for six or 7 years, or
It's in
5
their-
years, or whatever, so.
It's in their will.
Pretty much.
Pass it down.
Pretty much.
Generation to generation.
So, like I said, I know it's not cheap. It's not my $25,000 amount either, so I figured I'd throw another number out there for you guys. But, you know, it's I2 Security Solutions, just to let you know, does all of Lower Marion's, and everybody's down that way. So they are not a fly-by-night outfit. They are the best Linnell rep of our area. Best sales reps brought I2 in, said this is who does our installs. So, and that's who we have for our hardware as well. We're all best hardware for all our doors and everything too. So,
And it's not going to matter if our camera system's a different.
no, and right now it's very hard to get a camera system and a hardware system that works together. That's why everybody's goes to a power supply or some type of PoE to an IP address. So you're not segregated to a specific talking of IT, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a programmer by any means, but everybody has their own little quirk to it. But for all intents and purposes, they are all fairly open. And like I said, we currently have best currently. So it's when he came back with $101,000, I was like, wow, I didn't think he'd be that much cheaper. I knew he'd be cheaper because not having to replace all the hardware, but I didn't think it would be, 40% cheaper.
Thoughts from the committee?
I think we've been talking about it enough, and
Yeah.
it's either you do it or you don't do it, and I don't think not doing it is not an issue, is not an option.
This has been for years, really.
Well, the camera.
It's a question of
The
when-
camera coverage is probably, which one's more important?
Well, getting in, once you're in, I think restricting who can get in is the first thing, and you work from your perimeter in, so keep them out, and then,
You
then
can't
work on
secure the
cameras.
doors.
Is there any kind of a notification or something if the door is opened and left open?
I did not have them put alarm contacts or horns on this. No, I did not. We very easily can because the power supply is there. It's just being another cost.
So for example, if a custodian's shutting down the building at 9, 10 o'clock, we don't do alarms here.
Right.
So generally, in my prior world, I would have a box where I could see something not
Mhm.
closed, and I would go have to find that door. And one time it was a roof opening
Mhm.
where someone stuck a screwdriver and propped it open while they were working, go up to the roof and shut the darn thing. But, so right now, we wouldn't know if a piece of wood was propped in the door down the hallway and left open.
Right.
So I think if we're gonna do it, we might as well do that too, because then they're leaving the building unsecure.
Yep.
So that needs to be in place. I mean, maybe not an alarm, but you can. And our next step would be setting an alarm in the building.
Yeah.
Well-
Or some pad that we could shut down.
That was always, they always did a building check after some function. And
Right.
obviously, if they didn't check all the doors.
And if you're moving, and once again, we don't have motion sensors because I see everything hanging in the hallways, I notice right away. Every school I've been in, you couldn't hang things in the hallway because there's motion sensors. We don't have that because things are hanging all over the place. So then you stand still by the panel, you wait for it to turn green, right? And, and you put your code in, then 10 seconds you walk out the door. Here, we don't have that, so we need to at least be able to make sure that all the, because there's so many doors, that there's some sort of connection on there that says, okay, it's green, you're clear. If not, you spend all night long trying to figure out if the door's open or not, or you leave it like down the hallway tonight, propped open.
What's the delay on an alarm for the door? 30 seconds?
When you say delay,
Like, in other words?
if a door's propped, we could set it for whatever. At Wilson, we had it for 20 seconds. So if the door was open for 20 seconds, the little siren would the annoying little buzzer would go off. It would be localized to that door. It would not go across the whole building, but it would go to that spot. And it was loud enough that you'd hear it. You heard it down the hallways. Because there's many times we'd be bringing a piece of equipment in, and we have the door propped open, and things. It's like the thing just shut up.
Are the doors that you're doing at the high school, are they doors that get propped open a lot?
Yes.
Then it probably does
I'm
make
guilty.
sense to have.
Is that a
the-
building, more of a building by building decision, or would you want to do all of them?
I can definitely talk to them and find out cost-wise.
No, I mean, what the habits of people leaving doors
It's
propped
primarily
open?
the high school and middle school. If I had to say anything, it'd be the high school and middle school because you have more after-school activities, you have the athletics, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, our buildings are used, our elementary buildings are used hard as well for after-school activities, but we have custodians there that just will unlock the front doors for them, like at Monocacy. Janice will unlock it quarter of the hour of whenever somebody's supposed to come in, she'll lock the door down, and then 15 minutes after, she goes back and locks the door again.
But the high school's so big, and there's so many different activities
Yeah.
going on around it. Who wants to walk a quarter mile around the building to go out to, you'll duck out the back door?
I think it makes sense to at least find out, I mean, to get
Yep.
a quote for the
Okay.
alarm. I mean, unless it's, doubles it or triples it, it seems to make sense that
If you have
we should
power,
have
I
it.
can't imagine.
The power supply's there, so I mean, it's just a matter of, it's just
Small
a
unit.
relay up in the panel. It should just be a set of contacts in that power supply. And they can maybe just mount a remote little horn with a time delay relay above the ceiling. I mean, it could be something as simple as that in the power supply. Because I know when door 11 wasn't working, and when they found out that the wires were disconnected in the removable mullion, when I was up in that power supply, there were multiple points in there that I could hook up another set of wires for a set of contacts. So I'll ask them.
Okay.
And there again, while they're there, it shouldn't take much. It
You
really
wouldn't
shouldn't.
think. Because I think, like you said, we either need to do it or not do it. I think it makes sense to do it, but we should do it once and be done with it.
And how long to get a revamped camera plan?
Well, we can get the floor plans and have each principal, along with Casey, and I can go out and we can split up and walk the building and then just mark it where there's coverage, where there's not. And, I mean, every place has to be
Including where
coverage.
there should be coverage. if
Should be
there isn't.
coverage, and then put a price to it.
Yep.
Because you had, how many schools did you look at? in this first-
Just the
Well,
two.
it was Amity and the middle school are the two that currently have camera systems. So the only other two that would need to be done would be the Monocacy.
But we have to look at it if there's any blind spots in the
Right.
building too, so we just do all the buildings. That's it. And that also helps map out your camera system too, so you know camera 1 is pointing down the main hallway, and 2, 3, 4, 5 as you go. That becomes a problem also, you don't know where someone is, because there's so many cameras now.
Yeah, because we did the high schools, we actually had, forget who sat with us, as we were starting to mark, instead of camera 1, it was, 209 looking north, or 135 looking west kind of thing. So we tried to at least mark it, and we, had a little note there, north is the front entrance kind of thing, so people would know that's north.
Because what'll happen, if something happens in the building and you're monitoring the camera, you want to be able to follow that individual through the building. If you're clicking 60 or 70 different cameras and all over the place, you need to be able to know, okay, hit that camera now, hit that camera now, hit that camera now, and be able to follow. You can't just randomly plug things in, because usually there's about, anyway, it has to be sketched out a bit.
So I guess if we could get the updated price for the alarms and the cameras, and if you guys can maybe incorporate that into the capital budget, and then we could kind of see,
I didn't want to throw those
Where that
numbers
leads us?
in without bringing this to you guys to kind of, so you don't see, okay, why is the capital number going down so fast? Well, if I throw those in, they're going to swallow up a good amount of money pretty quick.
well,
So-
I mean, I think I don't want to speak for you guys, but I think everybody kind of thinks it's important. It's just how does it play into the budget plan, right? I mean, at least for me, that's how I would look at it.
Yeah, I'd like, the decision on whether they do the access is pretty easy. I think we should do it. It's just the option of what do we do alarm all the doors, or just, certain doors that
The
are
ones that seem
strategic.
to be left open all the time.
I don't know what the answer is, and I guess you drive into that answer when you know how much cost you're talking about to add something. If it's $10 to each one, it's probably,
Do 'em all.
yeah, do them all, but I know it's not gonna be $10.
Yeah, and that would only be alarming the doors that have a card access on them. Wouldn't be alarming all
Right.
your doors. So,
The last thing, moving admin to the high school. We talk about that. We need to look at least just pricing it out. And,
sorry.
it's okay, you have a life. Getting rid of
Did you
the,
do a one call?
huh?
It's an 855 number. Did you have a thing
Oh,
going on?
that's Preston.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, that's Preston's do not bring weapons to school call to parents. Yeah, imagine having to put a call out, please don't let your children bring weapons to school. But anyway, if we get rid of the kitchen equipment, and then just scope out what it would look like for us to move admin to that back annex area.
Yeah, STV, when they were here, their proposal was like 70 grand, I think is what it was, to do the design, and then they estimated between 5 and 750. Between 500 and 750, depending on your finishes. Of course, if you're gonna go expensive rugs, expensive furniture, if you're gonna go.
I don't need a
floor to
hot
ceiling.
tub with Rob. I do not need a hot tub with Rob.
Wait, like 500,
1,000, between 500 and 750,000 to do that, and that's card access for those doors. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work, and we would be going into the annex kitchen and the current student union area. The other room, we would swallow up maybe a little bit of that, but that would become the board room, multi-use, education room for the high school as well. We'd have two projectors up there, pull-down screens, so it'd be fully functional for Preston, for testing, for instructional, and then for board
Yeah,
meetings
it
as
would
well.
be like the lab, the virtual labs also, because the Berks County, we're looking at doing distant learning between schools. So we're looking at possibly being the lead on that and having the teacher here where they pay for partial of the teacher. But we're just starting to talk about that now.
Yeah, put 500 to 700,000 price tag, there's a whole lot of things that this district needs.
yeah.
That-
I'll leave that to,
That's why
I
we're
don't want
not-
that to be my
Yeah.
legacy.
Yeah.
I knew it was high. That's why when
Can't
people were like, hey, let's
secure
move,
the
I'm like, hold on, we're here right now and we're fine and
Yeah.
we have a couple of rooms. We don't need to
We could
do
just
that.
lay out.
That's why I was like, no, we're not moving.
The RFP for architectural services is due back May 6th.
Administration and trailers.
You can do that. You don't-
So we'll have that before the
Used to have them here.
next
Yeah.
Yeah,
facilities.
the idea
meeting.
was, yeah, I'll have them
Right.
before the next facilities, and so at that point, you can begin to determine who you want to have
Old
on
trailers.
board as architect of record, so to speak, and then you can, a project like this obviously is going to have a design phase and the whole deal as far as the bid process.
Sure, you'd have to go
Portable generator.
present that to
That Dane
Union
picture.
Township.
Union Township requires 3 full sets of drawings.
Yeah.
I already had
Yeah.
that
They're gonna
conversation
be
with them.
Just lovely to deal with.
And they actually said they would fast pace it for us when I talked to them before.
How much?
Because it's just a renovation inside our walls. Because we'd have to put bathrooms in back there. So they said, once you start salt cutting the floors and stuff like that, now you're talking construction. So,
Maybe Dane could pay for it. He has that principal fund.
He's got his little funds.
yeah, so that was, that was,
Stay tuned for the next finance committee.
but like I said, had a
Yeah.
long conversation with Union Township, and they were fully aware of it and fully supporting of it too.
Enough parking, right? You have enough parking for that.
We'd
Hey,
have to do nothing with parking. That's
In
the other problem.
defense, in a little bit of defense, I think approach was a big part of the issue with the stadium. I think if you reach out first instead of sending people to a meeting, telling somebody what you're going to do and what they're going to let you do, it usually works better. Did you
The band is
want
here.
to
Hog in the swamp.
introduce or take a minute?
Or as I said,
We got a couple
or as I
minutes
said,
left,
without my
so-
glasses, frog.
Frog
in the pond.
frog in-
Okay, I was gonna let
Okay.
Drop in the house.
George, right? Okay, I'm gonna let George have the floor for a minute because I think he brought some people with him.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate it. Last meeting we talked about, some issues, and one of the issues was we talked about replacing the manager here for custodial, and the new manager will be Jamie Silverstone, who's sitting behind Lauren over there. Jamie has a background in maintenance, and I'll let him toot his own horn for a second here. Background in maintenance as well as custodial. And
a little bit of everything, actually. Truck driving, equipment maintenance, a lot of areas. Business, working on a master's degree in accounting, bachelor's in public administration, which is kind of this public environment that we work in. Just a lot of areas of business and construction and landscape and chemical spraying or whatever the case is. So it all kind of combines and fits well in a school.
Have you ever worked in a school?
Yes. My last school, you guys were talking about the badge system. The last school, we had that, what you're talking about going to, but we could also record everything. So every badge swipe, there was a monitor in the office that you could see every badge swipe throughout the district, and it was updated. It was live. So as they swiped the badge, you could see, and the camera was on every building. So that's a very nice system. And they used it a lot. And they could lock out, actually, certain badges.
Right.
They could go through and list certain badges and lock out just the teacher's badges and leave everything else open. I'm sure he knows all about that. They have the system now.
What school district did you work in?
It was Collegium Charter School. That's in Exton, down in Exton. I was there 3 years. Started as custodian. You do whatever you need to do at school. So one day I could be custodial, I could be on the roof the next day. Transitioned into heat and air there, did all the heat and air for 5 buildings. And that was all the preventive maintenance and all the repairs and everything. So set up their preventive maintenance program, worked through that, changing filters, times to do things. Had a few boilers, not many, they were brand new. But you do any and everything.
Let me ask, at what point would you need to call for help? At what level of maintenance?
At what level of maintenance for me? It depends. Depends on what it is.
Give them a scenario.
How big of, what's the largest chillers you've worked on? Have you ever worked on any chillers?
Yes, we were, here, with this buildings we have in Coatesville. That's where I was working recently.
Okay.
We actually had mostly package units there. So we would have 26 rooftop units.
Right.
And then we had one cooling tower in one building, and the rest of it was water leak systems.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what we had.
Can you swap out, compressor change up?
Oh, absolutely.
And the diagnosing compressors up to 20-ton compressors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was part of my job at Collegium. We took over everything in-house. They had a contract before for preventive maintenance and for service. I took over both. So we just, it's only 5 buildings, and some of the stuff was new, some of the stuff was really old. And then they have to price everything out. Like they needed 2 units, for example. Now that we would need help on, replacing. And I think I got help on the 15-ton compressor, just because it takes 2 men to move that around. Certain things like that, you would go out for help.
Square footage of your buildings, what's the largest building you had?
80,000 square feet.
Okay. All right.
I had three large train units on.
All right.
I guess one of my question is, I think one of the deficiencies that we've experienced is the people management skills.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got your resume, didn't seem to have anything on it, so obviously if you're here, GCA has seen something within you that they believe you have that skill, so maybe you could speak to that a little bit because.
Well, over the years, I've always trained and supervised employees, just in certain functions of my job. Didn't have a need to do it because all my jobs were very specific. I drove a fertilizer truck, for example, for 7 years. So that my experience in that position, allowed me to be able to train and supervise guys. No one else knew how to drive the truck or operate, pretty much, within reason. So I would train the guys on that. So over the years, I've done a lot of that, training and supervising, and then they kind of move on to wherever they need to go. So that's really not new to me. Just haven't had an official manager title, just for that fact that I was always used for training, and then they would move on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just, you know, you're comfortable, you're gonna, you know, as part of your job as a manager is to double check, see, you know, if the customer's, you know, wishes are being met, if their expectations are being met for, you know, the cleanliness in the building. And what, you know, right now, I don't want to put a grade level on it, but I would probably think it's probably a C- or a D maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think there's a lot of work to be done to get people in the right positions to actually do the work to our expectations, the building principal's expectations. So, and then that, if you're not meeting that expectation, that's when you as a manager now need to go to the people and find out what's the flaw, why isn't this working, why isn't this getting done, and holding people accountable. So if you feel comfortable with that, I'm glad, but because that's the biggest thing is the person, you know.
So let me ask, when's this start that?
He's going to start next week. He's just going to conclude some things where he is right now.
All right, because I have a staff meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock, but we could reconvene once he starts to sit down with all the principals and then hit their buildings with them, do like a walkthrough with them, along with the head custodian and maybe the cleaning staff during the day, the head custodian, to make sure that he's up on what they feel are pressing issues.
And also, he'll have support as well when it comes to the follow-up and checking and inspection, quality control functions of what we do. Also, in saying that, I wanted to introduce Barry Schusterman, who's been around this week. Doug, the regular manager, he was out, so Barry just came to fill in for the week, and he's also helping us with some transitions. So we got the support here to make sure it happens. And we got another gentleman who Casey met, Joey. Dory, and Joey's, you know, he's in the area as well. So.
Where are we at on staffing?
Okay, on staffing, you approved 2 more today or yesterday?
I didn't get anything.
You didn't get anything? Okay, all right. Well, we have 2 more set up for approval that's being sent in, and also we're going to add 2 more to the high school. We want them to kind of roll around. And I want to get some input from you, Casey, when we can talk about it, you know, out of this circle. But I'm talking about some people that can go to high school or someplace late, and they can do some floor work. Envision them on a 3rd shift, but not a true 3rd shift, maybe an extended 2nd shift kind of thing. And that way they can get some things done late, and we can catch some of that stuff, and also, improve some things. Also, like on the weekends, it's good that you spoke to the activities that we're getting quite a bit of activity on the high school. I'm not telling you guys anything new, but we've now got the staff that were there at least at the high school on the weekends, so they're covering some things that may have been not in the program. So, a couple of other things we're looking at as well. We are working on a preventive maintenance schedule. We had talked about. We want to make sure when we put this in place, and that's the other reason I have these other guys around, that we'll put it in a modular vehicle that we can account for everything we do. So we're working with Casey in putting that together. We just need to, I guess, once you guys get your new system up, that's when we want to dump that data. We also have a list of all the equipment in the buildings, and I don't know if that's got sent to you yet, Casey, but we're going to send you the equipment list for all it's got the serial numbers of all the equipment in the business, HVAC equipment and those kind of systems that support this. The other thing is at Monocacy, we were looking at the windows. The windows look pretty bad, and we wanted to have those cleaned. So we did have a guy just come out and look at it, and the estimate he gave us was $5,200 to clean the outside windows. because that, you know, because right now you can't get anything up there, get all this like spider webs that are around the frames and those kind of things. So, but that's the gist of.
Yeah, the exterior windows at Monocacy are
Yeah.
disgusting. For lack of a better term, they're just awful.
Yeah. There's some scratches
so-
in those windows too, Casey. I want to
Yeah,
tell
I'm
you
not
that
sure
before we get into
how
it.
that.
It's in the
how-
glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I was going to talk to George about this anyway. The thought was, this summer, we would rent an all-terrain boom lift for them, and then they could just go around and pressure wash it when the ground's firm. That ground around that building stays very wet for a long period of time, and we need some long, dry weather to safely get them up there. So they would definitely have to wait until July, August, probably until the ground really, really firms up. But they're awful. They're just awful. I hate walking the stairwells out there just because you look out those outside windows there and they're filthy. So, so it's definitely something that's going to need to be done. So there again, that's one of those things. You know, is that a project under their agreement, or is that something they're responsible for? And I just it's kind of a gray area, so I didn't know. So I was going to talk to you in the next couple of weeks to kind of get some clarification on that as well. Yeah.
I'll talk to George.
Yeah, you know, because there again, I just don't know. You know, windows on the ground level, yes, that's on them. Windows 2.5 stories up, I don't know if that's their responsibility or not. So, but they need to be done. They need to be done sooner than later. So.
Okay.
And just real quick, we got some other updates and changes that we'll be sending out as we, you know, get our guys acclimated. But you know, I got a good, strong team that's going to come in here and, you know, really make a difference.
Oh, where are we at with moving GCA and Nutrition Inc.?
That's going to happen summer.
Do you know the office is moving?
I'm sorry.
Do you know the office is moving?
I heard.
Okay, yeah, because of Shelley, special ed is expanding.
Yeah, Shelley does not want to move her counselors until school is out.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
But we have to get the spaces ready.
Yeah, so that's kind of on my plan to get into those rooms, repaint those rooms before we move them into those, get them waxed, get them clean, and get them prepped. So, which they can actually start working on that right when school lets out, because those couple of rooms are not used by the last week of school. So they can start picking away at that the last week of school as well.
Let me ask you, Alonzo is going where? Is he going back?
He's going to, it's 140A and B.
In the
So,
back.
so if you go all the way down the hallway past the cafeteria, ISS and school suspension, or IR, whatever that room is, it's right next to there. There's two rooms there. There's a conference table in the one, and the other one has a computer where M&G and stuff like that, they'll, I guess, punch in or I don't know what, it's just kind of two. Shelley has stuff stored in the one, so when we move her counselor over, we're going to move all that stuff over as well.
All right. So then GCA will go back to the annex, where the old ticket room was?
No, they're both going 140A and 140B. So
by the cafeteria?
Yep, they'll both
Okay.
be side by side. That way, they're also right above the basement as well for their staff.
Okay, I thought they were going back to the annex, that one room,
No, right now we have it full of stuff. We use it for storage.
junk, okay.
Yeah. No, actually, worthwhile stuff. That's why it's in that room. So.
All right, good.
Well, and thank you for the updates, and just real quick, did any of the public have anything they wanted to ask or comment on, or?
I'm not a resident, I'm a teacher at Monocacy. Would you permit me to make a little quick, put a bug in someone's ear? We're coming up
I don't,
on-
I don't have an issue. I mean, it's a committee. I don't know the legalities, but if you can be quick, I'll let you.
We're coming up on a month with no clocks at Monocacy.
Oh, that's right. We
It's on-
actually did, that was
on our list.
it was on our
It was
list,
on
but
the
it
list.
was added at the last minute, so I apologize.
No,
So thank you for reminding us.
Clocks at Monocacy. They're a Simplex clock system. Unfortunately, Simplex is not very customer friendly. They're just not. They're horrible. But we changed daylight savings. We gave them a couple days to try to reset. Did not reset. Ron went in and tried to reset them again. Sometimes that'll make them work. So that pretty much that first week, we were trying some things to make them work before I call Simplex in for $400 an hour. It's like $400 the first hour and like $250 or $275 for every hour after that. So I called them the following Monday. They were supposed to be here by Friday. They did not show up that Friday. I called that Friday to follow up with them, and they went, oh, we forgot to send a guy out there. So then they sent a guy out the following Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere in that neck of the woods. And then they found what they have come up with is that one of the clocks, when it went to reset, shorted out, which caused the feedback through the system, which wasn't allowing clocks to work. I was not paying them their rate to go around and unplug one clock at a time and spend a couple days there. So what they told us to do was unplug all the clocks that were not working and see if the system went to normal. After a couple days, it has become normal again. So now we are plugging in 1, 2, 3 a day
To see where
to see where they're at. So I have 25 new clocks ordered. Currently, there's about 16 to 18 of them that are not working, from what Ron Hebelo has told me. So I will have those clocks within the week. If we cannot find the shorted clock, we're just going to have to swipe them all out. And what I'll do is I'll put them in my office and I'll plug one at a time in my office to find out which ones are good or which ones are bad. They're $110. The replacements are $110 a piece. So,
These 15 clocks
You're
were
in the wrong
working before the
business,
time
right?
change?
yep.
I need to be a school clock technician at like $400 an hour. Screw
Yeah.
medical school.
So now all the
You can
clocks
do that
are.
when you're not installing.
Am I
doors.
am I
Cutting your
correct? All
wall
the
now.
clocks that are working. I was told.
I used to go to law school,
Right.
so you can do that.
When I was in the office today, no clocks in the main office were working.
Well, all right, there might be some that are not working, and the worst part was, unfortunately, your maintenance staff unplugged the clocks but rehung the clock. So Ron's not sure which ones are working and
plugged in.
which. So he has to go literally He had to go back to every classroom, pull the clock out of the holder, and look to see which ones were. So he made himself a list of which ones were unplugged. So.
All right, so
yes.
I guess the moral of the story is,
In 1
Just be
week, I will have
worked on.
25 new clocks, and if they're not, whatever's not working in 1 week will get changed.
When we get back in place, we will all be on the same time.
Should be,
Jim's
yes,
gonna
hopefully.
text you
If
guys
all
and let
goes
you know
well,
when
yes. I just
the
ordered
period's
$3,000 worth of clocks, so.
okay.
So.
Anybody else? Are we good?
We gotta go.
All right.
Go ahead, Dan.